we'll put her on the back tire here. So I'm going to tell you what my understanding is.
Okay.
You built the Fargo.
Yeah.
Obviously, you built this.
Yeah.
Those aren't your first two builds.
Not really. No, I started kind of dabbling with motorcycles. So
Okay.
I built a cafe racer that actually ended up in Motorcycle Mojo. Like Glenn Roberts, he did a feature on it for me, and it was something like this. It wasn't like show quality worthy, but he appreciated what I was young and the style and stuff that I did because he had some CB 750s. So anyway, I built that, and I built a couple hardtail choppers and stuff like that. So I dabbled around with motorcycles. And then I built a Volkswagen dune buggy that I had for like many years, and I sold that. And I built the Fargo, and then after I was finished the Fargo, I started building a 32 Ford truck.
Okay.
I had the chassis, and it got to the point where I had to do some really heavy sheet metal repair on it. So I had been gathering a lot of tools to learn how to do sheet metal work, but I wasn't quite ready to like dive into the 32 because I wanted it a certain way. So I had a lot of these extra parts, and a lot of stuff was just given to me, actually. The main reason I built the car was because someone gave me this rear end, a buddy of mine.
So we're gonna talk about that rear end because I don't understand it after taking pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. So my buddy, who I ended up meeting him because I needed some taper bungs. Am I rambling too much? I needed some taper bungs made, and he's a race car guy. He builds stock cars and stuff like that. So I go up to his house. I need this taper reamer to make these bungs, just through a friend of a friend, and then we became buddies. And he's like, "You should take this rear end because it's too heavy for him to run in race cars. He builds like lightened 9 inches.
Okay.
So he's, you should take this rear end and put it in your hot rod." I'm like, "No, like I'm building like a traditional. I got a 9 inch in it already, blah blah blah." And so he kept after me, take this rear end, and then a buddy had this cowl in this pile of parts outside, and I had the rear end, and I had like a spring and a cross member I wasn't going to use, and Johnny had an axle, so I'm like, you know what, maybe I should just throw a little like gow job hot rod together and build a body from scratch. And to be honest with you, kind of like Bad Chad somewhat inspired me to just kind of use what I had that way, right? But anyway, so that's how it came to fruition, I guess.
So is it on the 32 frame?
No, this is a chassis. I just based this off of Iron Trap Garage.
Okay, yeah.
Matt Murray, when he worked for Eastwood, he built a chassis on the Eastwood page that was like how to build a Model A hot rod chassis. And this is loosely based off what he did.
Right
so
on.
I just kind of copied that, and then I actually built another one. I have a frame jig at home. I built this, and I built another one for Johnny, and we traded. He gave me the front end, the spindles, the wishbone, and the cross member and stuff too.
Oh, cool.
So there was a lot of horse trading going on. So like
that's hot rodding, right?
Yeah, exactly. I kind of built the whole thing for a few $100 Speedway order for like tie rod ends and bits and pieces. The thing was essentially built like out of spare stuff, and then I had to obviously start spending money on tires and hardware, and the engine was built for my 32. Was sitting in my 32, and when it came time, I just stopped.
And I saw your post about putting a trans in it. Like, had 4 neutrals. So
yeah, so
you scavenged the buddies.
So I finally got it together. I was trying to get it ready for Hot August Nights, and like Johnny was there, my buddy Ed Boone was there, and we started it up, and I put it in reverse and had reverse. I'm like, woo, and then I put it in drive. Nothing. I'm like, it was such a bummer. But anyway, like to find a turbo 350 is, believe it or not, it's not easy anymore. No. And a buddy of mine was getting ready to LS swap his vest.
Right.
And he said, you know what, I'm not going to use it. Come get it, and it's yours, right? And then within the day, I had the I took a whole car apart, basically, to pull the engine out and...
Yeah, I guess it's not easy access.
No, right? It's not. And it's like, of course, the cross member, I'm like, I'm just going to weld the cross member in and not make
never
it
have to
bolt
take
in.
it out.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Anyway.
All right, so back to the back end. Yeah. So what is that back end?
So it's basically out of a circle track car.
Okay.
It's kind of neat because in racing, they started using Ford, like, 1-ton rear ends, essentially, because they were so strong.
Right.
And they looked kind of like this. And you could have a quick change, like I'm sure you've heard of a quick change rear end in hot rods. So this kind of derived from early Fords, so much so that this bolt pattern on a wide 5, like NASCAR stock car, is the same as a 1939 Ford wheel, like wide 5. Yeah, so this is just an original 39 Ford wheel that John had, and it just bolted right onto this essentially NASCAR rear end.
So the fact that it's a circle track based axle, that's why there's only one brake.
Well, it was when I got it, it only had one brake caliper mount on it. So I'm like, and it's fully locked.
Right.
So I was just like, I'll just make people like wonder how come there's only one brake on the side, right?
Well, I took a picture and I'm like, I don't like the sun.
Yeah.
And then I went over there and I'm like,
there's no brake. Yeah. And people are like, even my buddies and mechanics, oh, it's gonna pull. I'm like, but it's completely locked. Like it's one piece, and the car is so light, right? So
yeah, but that's why it's hard to push it around because
it's fully locked. Yeah, it's binding, right? But even with these skinny tires, it's binding. So, do you know what a quick change is?
I know that.
So the idea of it is that you pop this cover off, and there's straight cut gears here. So the drive shaft comes right through the bottom, and then your pinion gear, which would normally be driven by your drive shaft, your pinion gear goes this way, and it's driven off of through this set of gears first. Before the
so you can change those out.
So you pop this off, slide 2 different gear ratios on there, and put it back together, and you've changed your whole rear end ratio in
without
having to minutes, without having to pull anything apart, basically.
Oh, cool, man.
So that's the idea behind it, anyway.
And the spring is out.
That's a Model A, original Model A spring. I just literally found it in the woods, basically. Yeah, and it was really good shape. So.
And you obviously the frame is built.
The frame is built. This is an original Model A cross member.
Okay, right on.
Model A spring, and I fabricated. It has a kind of a triangulated ladder bar system. It kind of works like a swing arm on a. There's not a whole lot of.
It's a hard ride.
Right. Yeah. It actually is not too bad, but it's kind of the only thing I could do because there was no room for top links or anything.
Yeah.
So it was the only thing I could do to get the rear end as close as I wanted to the body.
Cool.
Yeah.
And
the body's loosely based off like a 28, 29 Roadster pickup.
Oh, okay.
So
it's actually wider than a 23T.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's quite a bit wider, and even like a typical Roadster pickup would probably only be this long. And
You're a tall fella, so yeah.
I extended it and widened it as well a little bit.
Cool. Yeah. So what's a
Cal's 2829 sedan.
Okay.
Yeah, and Johnny actually found this gas tank somewhere in our travels. I don't know. So he had this gas tank, and that's used as the gas tank. Like it was in really good shape.
That's wicked. What's the handle off of?
That is so the shifter's just a B&M shifter. The shift knob is something I picked up in Carlisle in April, and it's actually there's a guy who makes them, and they're like
is this a V8?
It's a V8, yeah. He sells them for like $300-$400 or whatever on eBay, but he has a buddy who goes to these swap meets, and he gives him all his blems that he doesn't like.
Oh, yeah,
so there's like a little blem in the pinstripe that like Buddy's like very fanatical about, and he's like he just gives them to him to sell swap meets and stuff, and he sells them like $30 or $40 or something like that.
No, this is cool, man.
Literally, like I don't know if you've seen the picture on my Instagram, but I started with like nothing essentially. Like,
well, this started it.
I told him the rear end was kind of the starting point, and then me wanting to do like get used to my sheet metal tools and do a little project before I finish the 32. Like not a lot of money into it at all. Like I had that dune buggy, and we loved cruising around in it, the open air thing or whatever. And it was kind of like a replacement, I guess, for that.
Right on.
Yeah,
that works.